You know, the deeper one looks, and you don't have to look very deep, into the Trump gangster organization, the more you find Russians all over the place. Russian intelligence units, Russians who control Americans, who allegedly work for and taken oaths for in sworn oaths to protect and defend. I get confused. The United States, like Trump. Trump is a Russian asset. Roger Stone, a Russian asset. Michael Flynn, a Russian asset. And now Michael Caputo. Right? You've seen his name? He is the top communications officer at the Cabinet Department, Health and Human Services. In charge, Caputo is, in charge of fighting the coronavirus. And I guess you heard what he said on Sunday, and since then, these insane, and I mean that literally, because this guy is out of his mind, Michael Caputo. His insane and false bullshit on Sunday that career government scientists were engaged in sedition in their handling of the pandemic. And left-wing hit squads are arming up and preparing for armed insurrection after the election. This guy is insane. Now, I know we use that term a lot. Somebody's crazy. This guy's crazy. This Trump operative is crazy. This guy is certifiably nuts. Michael Caputo, Assistant Secretary of Public Affairs, Department of Health and Human Services. He's the one on Sunday who accused the Centers for Disease Control of harboring what he called a resistance unit, whose sole function is to undermine President Trump. Even if this resistance unit within the CDC adds to the pandemic death toll. This guy's crazy. He's crazy. I'll get to the proof of his craziness. This guy has a history you're not going to believe. It took a while for me to find it, but I found it. Anyway, Caputo, according to the New York Times, also, Caputo has faced intense criticism for his efforts to warp CDC weekly bulletins to fit Trump's narrative. And I'll tell you something else. I just said this a second ago, but I've got to repeat it again. I am now convinced beyond even a 1%, 1/10 of 1% doubt that Trump is an active agent for Vladimir Putin. He is an asset and a conscious agent for Putin. He wants to be like Putin. He wants the United States to be like Russia. I have no doubt any longer about what Trump's goals are. How he got there is a different story, but that's what he is. And Caputo suggested he personally could be in danger from opponents of this administration. This little son of a bitch is also a paranoid schizophrenic, which I know it's a clinical term. Trust me. Wait till I finish up with what I'm about to tell you. He urged his followers. Caputo thinks that he has followers, and they kind of dovetail with Trump's followers. But he urged the followers of both of them, quote, "If you carry guns, buy ammunition, ladies and gentlemen, because it's going to be hard to get." That was on I guess, a FaceTime meltdown that he had over the weekend. He went further than that, saying that his own physical health was in question. And he said this, "My mental health has definitely failed." End quote. My mental health has definitely failed. It's like an alcoholic saying, "Yeah, I'm an out of control alcoholic. And what are you going to do about it?" Caputo said, quote, also, now listen up, I don't like being alone in Washington. There are, quote, shadows on the ceiling in my apartment. When I'm there alone, the shadows are so long, end quote. Okay. He also said that the mounting number of COVID-19 deaths was taking a toll on him. And he told his FaceTime viewers, quote, you are not waking up every morning and talking about dead Americans, end quote. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe the shadows on the ceiling of his apartment, the long shadows, could tell us. The Times goes on, to a certain extent, Caputo's comments in a video he hosted live on his personal Facebook page were simply an amplified version of remarks that the Orange Ape himself has made. Both men, Caputo and Trump, more, but these two especially, have singled out government scientists and health officials as being disloyal to Trump. And Caputo and Trump, of course, have said that this election coming up will not be fairly decided, and that left-wing groups are secretly plotting to incite violence across the United States. You see what's being laid here is the foundation for Trump to declare martial law or a state of emergency or the Insurrection Act. Now listen to me, please, okay? Just listen to me. This is going to happen. One of those scenarios is going to happen. It's going to happen. Trump is not going to leave office under any circumstances short of violence. He is not. And even that, I don't think, will get him to leave. You have to believe that. Now, what are you talking about, Malloy? Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm going to tell you something here. Seriously, everything that Trump has been saying, everything that his people have been doing, working with the fascists in Russia, and please don't consider Putin or any of the government officials in Russia to be communists. They are so far removed from communism as to render that term meaningless. They are fascists of the first order. Every single one of them. And everybody working for Trump, please accept that. Secret left-wing groups are plotting to incite violence. Now, Trump and Caputo have suggested that, but Caputo's attacks on his video the other day were more direct, and they came from one of the officials most responsible, him, for shaping the communications that we Americans receive about the coronavirus. Caputo said this, quote, CDC scientists haven't gotten out of their sweatpants except for meetings at coffee shops to plot how they're going to attack Donald Trump next, end quote. This crazy son of a bitch says stuff like, he believes it. CDC scientists are plotting how they're going to attack Donald Trump. And then he said this, quote, there are scientists who work for the government who do not want America to get well. Not until after Joe Biden is president. End quote. The shadows on the ceiling, right, Michael? You sick son of a bitch, you. The shadows are getting longer. They're coming for you, Michael. You can buy all the guns you want to buy. It's not, you can't kill shadows, Michael. Back to his Facebook thing over the weekend. It went on for half an hour. And it was being described as a broadside against scientists, the news media, and Democrats. This guy is sick. It's those long shadows on the ceiling, Michael. They're coming for your ass. The shadows are coming, Michael. But it was another example, this broadcast, of a senior Orange Ape official just ginning up public anxiety about the election and these conspiracy theories about the deep state. You know, that's what the Orange Ape calls the Federal Civil Service bureaucracy. I guess my son is part of the deep state now, saving lives at a VA hospital, but he's part of the deep state because he's now a federal employee, right? You son of a bitches. Caputo, in this 26-minute broadside over the weekend, he predicted that the Orange Ape will win re-election in November, but that Joe Biden would refuse to concede, and that would lead to violence. And this is what Caputo said. Quote, "And when Donald Trump refuses to stand down at the inauguration, the shooting will begin. The drills that you've seen are nothing." End quote. Drills? Oh, the shootings in the street of innocent people by these right-wing Nazis and these out-of-control cops. This is what Caputo is saying. Now, there were no signs yesterday from anybody in the Orange Apes criminal enterprise that because of what he said, Caputo's job was in danger. Nothing. Deafening silence. Crickets. Just like those shadows on the ceiling, Michael. And in a statement yesterday, Caputo told the New York Times this, quote, "Since joining the administration, my family and I have been continually threatened and harassed by people who have later been prosecuted. This weighs heavily on us. And we deeply appreciate the friendship and support of President Trump as we address these matters and keep our children safe," end quote. Hey, Michael, nobody in your family is safe because of the shadows. The shadows on the ceiling, Michael. You've seen them. You know their intent. They're going to get you, Michael. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. You have your choice. You can listen to The Ranting with the audio podcast or listen and watch me lose control with a video podcast subscription. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.